We were meant to exchange today.
It's so rude. I can't get over it. It's so rude. It's so unprofessional.
And it's other people's ineptitude and inability to do really, really simple things. We're not going to be moving house this week. I feel like screaming, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know what we do.
So is now the point that we talk dates? I had a meltdown. Babe, we've exchanged.
Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. I am coming to you on the 9th of September and I am really hoping that we are going to exchange on this house finally tomorrow. The last week has been so stressful. I have cried on the phone to the estate agents, to the solicitors, to Matt, to my parents. It's been so stressful. There's been loads of things coming up kind of in the run up to exchange, like really bizarre things that our buyer seems to want us to do to the house, which don't need doing. It's a 4-year-old house and there's some things coming up that have just been quite frustrating to have to deal with. I think it's all part of the process and, you know, these kind of things come up and I suppose there is an element of you've got to try and get what you can, but there's nothing wrong with the house that we're selling. It's 4 years old. It's basically brand new. So it's frustrating that there's been quite so many things that we've had to kind of discuss and say, no, we're not doing that. And yeah, I think we're getting there. I really think we're getting there. We've told the solicitors we want to exchange tomorrow. We've been aiming for the 10th for a long time. Just got to cross fingers now and hope. Really hope. And I think they are aiming potentially for the 26th as move day, or as completion day, which is really exciting. But obviously it's all so up in the air. It's so difficult with it being so up in the air with things. I don't know, it feels like it's such a long-winded process. Like emails from like a week ago that haven't been replied to by the buyer's solicitor and things. And comparatively, our purchase is fine. Our purchase is going through really quite, like, I'm waiting for something to come up that's going to cause an issue with that because there's been nothing. But the sale of our 4-year-old new build house is coming up with so much stuff, and it seems like a lot of it's, I think, to do with the solicitor that is working on it. He seems to be quite old-fashioned in the way that he works. There's a lot of like, I'll dictate that to my secretary rather than just popping it in an email. Like, he's been away on a couple of holidays and it doesn't seem like there's been anyone take over the case in his absence and things. All very frustrating, but hopefully we are on the home stretch now. I will be very frustrated if we don't exchange tomorrow, but we can only do what we can do, so we'll just see. I think I'm going to call the estate agent now and just check a couple of bits and cross my fingers.
It is the 10th of September. We were meant to exchange today, but instead we found out yesterday afternoon that our buyer's solicitor is out of the office today. They have known for weeks and weeks and weeks that this is the date that we wanted to exchange, and failed to mention that that was happening. Very frustrating. We've also heard today that the buyer is still pushing for repairs to be done to the downstairs loo, which works perfectly fine, before exchange. They've asked us if we can provide some money towards any repairs that are required, and this is I can't get my head around it. It is a perfectly functioning toilet. I'm so bored talking about this toilet. I'm really hoping we exchange tomorrow. I've had to be quite firm with them today and say, look, there's no money for this. The delay is not okay. There's a lot of reasons, but essentially any delay to exchange from today is going to cost us a load of money. And they also want to complete earlier, which means we'll be paying the new mortgage versus the old mortgage. The new mortgage is quite a lot more money than the old mortgage. So if they want to complete earlier and they're delaying exchange, which costs us money, we've gone back to them big girl pants on today and said the toilet works, So we're not paying a plumber to do any work on it because it works perfectly fine as a toilet. The house is 4 years old. Suck it up. And we've said that we will do their suggested completion date if they exchange tomorrow, because that is still a delay to the exchange that we asked for. And if they want us to complete earlier and exchange later, there's no middleman here. There's no compromise. We're not meeting in the middle. That is just them dictating stuff, and that's not okay. So we have basically said we want to exchange tomorrow, and if you exchange tomorrow, we will give you the completion date that you want, and we'll see what they come back with. I cannot believe that this is what's causing delays. Like, I didn't think that there would be delays because of non-existent maintenance issues on a 4-year-old house. Like, it's a 4-year-old new build. It has no issues, and it's like they're trying to find something wrong with it to try and squeeze as many pennies out of us as they possibly can. And I'm done with it. I'm so done. So I'm hoping we get a positive response either today or tomorrow morning, and hopefully we can exchange tomorrow. We're visiting the new house tomorrow to go and do some measurements, which will be good. Go and measure up the living room, because I'm not sure this corner sofa is going to work in the new house. And it might be that we either get rid of the corner part and just have it as a 3-seater, or we have to do the L configuration the other way round. But yeah, we're going to do some full measurements, particularly of the lounge, just to kind of work out those things. And I think we also need to decide which room we're going to put Evie's things in, because we are going to be doing some work on this house that will change whose room is whose over the next few months, because there's not enough going on right now. You will know by now, which is exciting, you will know by now that I am pregnant, and so there's not enough going on right now. Oh dear. So yeah, moving house, work happening to house, and a baby on the way. And now we are in this kind of farting around process about a perfectly functioning toilet. I am so bored. So bored. Anyway, I'm sure it's all part of the process and delays happen, but yeah, very painful. We are off to see the new house today and do some measurements and things, because we need to check like orientations of the sofa and all those kind of things for the new house. I'm really looking forward to getting back in there and seeing it again. It's been like, so what was that, May, June, July? 5 months since we've been to see it. So that'll be really nice. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing it again. Gonna take measuring tape and things like that so that we can get some ideas sorted for where we want things. And yeah, we're not gonna be exchanging today. I don't think we're even gonna exchange this week. There was a massive spanner thrown in the works yesterday, so it looks like someone else in the chain is nowhere near ready, and we weren't aware of that. So I don't really know how we weren't aware of that, but yeah, we found that out yesterday. So they're like workload wise weeks off, which is quite stressful. But yeah, I gotta go. Really looking forward to seeing it again. Hello you guys. It is the 18th of September and I'm coming to you from my pregnancy sickbed because I am still getting really, really sick with this baby, which is brutal. But I'm not coming to talk to you about that. I'm coming to talk to you about house stuff. So obviously after the disappointment last week where we thought we were going to exchange on Tuesday or Wednesday last week, and then it became very suddenly apparent that someone in the chain was incredibly far behind everyone else. They, as of yesterday, have completely caught up and are ready. The issue with the toilet at our house, I think, the house that we're selling, I think is resolved, but we haven't actually heard that from the solicitor yet, which is frustrating. We've heard it from the estate agent, but not from the solicitor. So waiting to hear that is completely resolved and they're happy with the issue. that is no longer an issue. And then I'd really like to have all our inquiries kind of done, which I think that would be everything. We'd be ready to go. So I'm really hoping that they turn around and say that they're happy now. But there's one person in the whole chain that there's one outstanding issue on, and it's something to do with the land registry. So they've put in a request to have some information changed on the land registry, but it hasn't come back yet. So we're kind of at the liberty of the timescales of the land registry, which I don't, from kind of my minimal knowledge, I don't think is a very quick process. So we're kind of chasing back and forth to see if it's something that can be done after completion. Yeah, it's frustrating. We're really hoping that we can kind of carry on. But yeah, so I got a call yesterday being like, oh yeah, the person who was really behind, totally up to date. And there's just this one issue with one person in the chain, and that's it. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that A, that this thing with the toilet is done, and B, that we will be able to exchange this week, hopefully. Today is Wednesday, and I'm really hoping that we can exchange by Friday, which would be really good, but we'll have to wait and see. And then the date that they're looking at for completion is next Thursday, which is a week tomorrow. So obviously we won't be moving next Thursday, apart from everything else, because our no removal companies are available at that short notice. So we've called around a couple of people that did quotes for us, but none of them are going to be available at that point. But because we've got this place for another few weeks, it's not the end of the world. But obviously we want to get in. We've been waiting so long to get into this house. So I don't know, really. I think we're probably going to be moving the week after next. But it means that if we get the keys next week, we can go in and we can do, measuring up for blackouts for Evie's bedroom and all of those kind of little admin-y things that need doing. So we can do all that before the actual move-in day. So that would be good. My parents haven't seen the house yet at all, which is, they've seen some photos, but they haven't. My dad's so superstitious about these things. He hasn't even driven past. So once we exchange, he will do that. So if we get the keys next week, we'll probably take them next weekend to go and see it, which would be nice. It's so frustrating because it feels like we're so close now, but it also feels like every tiny little issue I'm finding so frustrating, because it's been like we've been so close to exchanging a couple of times now, or it's felt so, and then it's like, oh, but there's this, oh, but there's this. And I mean, so yesterday when we found out that the person who had a load of stuff to do had done everything, there was no other issue. And it was like a few hours later that I found out about this land registry thing, and I was like, oh, come on, it sounded for a second like we would possibly be exchanging like today. And then this thing about the land registry came to light, and it's just like, it feels like we've been in touching distance of exchange a couple of times, and then something's come up. So I'm finding every tiny little issue really frustrating now. But yeah, hopefully we'll get the keys next week. Fingers crossed.
Hello, you guys. So it's now the 19th of September. We have not exchanged yet, and it's not looking like it's going to happen this week. Our buyer's solicitor has not made contact with my solicitor in nearly a week, and we've asked questions and they haven't got back to us. It's really annoying. This whole thing with this toilet might be resolved, might not be resolved. We might be ready to exchange. We might not be ready to exchange. And they haven't made contact at all, not a phone call, not an email, nothing, since Friday last week. It's now Thursday. It's so rude. I can't get over it. It's so rude. It's so unprofessional. Like, we've had someone out to look at this toilet, and I can't get my head around it. Like, we were hoping to exchange this week, and we're waiting on another issue that hopefully will be resolved as soon as possible. But then, we need to know if as soon as that issue is resolved, we want to exchange. It's very, very stressful, and it's very frustrating. And I think I'm a bit of a control freak. And by I think, I mean, I know I'm a bit of a control freak, but I want to be able to make it happen, and it's completely out of my control, and that is not something I'm very good at managing, particularly because I'm still so sick with this pregnancy. I'm sat on my backside all day every day because I can't do anything and I'm just being sick. So it's like a mental torture because all I can do is sit and think about all the things that we need to know about this house and when we exchange. And yeah, but we've had some removal quotes. A couple of weeks ago we had a few different companies come out and quote, and I've got to say it amazed me, the difference in like the spectrum of quotes, because there was like probably 500-600 quid between the cheapest quote and the most expensive quote for exactly the same move. We're not moving that far. We're moving probably a 5-minute drive down the road. We want them to pack because I'm pregnant and I'm still really not very well. So I don't think I have it in me. I definitely don't have it in me to pack. So we're paying them to pack for us, which costs more. But we're getting a quote for the same service from so many different people. And I think there were 4 companies came out to look at how much stuff we've got and quote for the move. And yeah, like £500-600 difference, if not more, between the top and the bottom, because we don't know when completion is going to happen. But it may be that it happens, the date that everyone's kind of chucking around is a week today that we'll get the keys. But that means we have to have exchanged by then. So who knows? But obviously we need to be able to arrange removals. No removal company that I've spoken to are available next week. One of them that I've spoken to is available the week after. So we've penciled in the end of the week after next to do the move. But obviously we need to know if that's what's actually happening or not. So that's really difficult. It's very frustrating. I'm excited that we are at the point now where we are like penciling removal people and, you know, genuinely could have the keys for this house that we've been lusting over since, I think it was like the 27th of March that we viewed this house for the first time, and it's now the 19th of September. So it's so exciting that we might have the keys to this house that's going to be our new family home, and is, you know, it's going to be a long-term family home. It's going to be the home that both of our children grow up knowing as their first family home, and that is really lovely. And we might have the keys a week today, but good God, have I had to work for it. It's so stressful, and it's really difficult because I'm trying to kind of obviously manage my stress levels being pregnant and also being very, very ill with this pregnancy, and very, very sick with this pregnancy. And so it's really difficult, but it's frustrating, but it's exciting. And I think it'll all be worth it once we get there. But it is unbelievably frustrating at the moment. It feels like we get within touching distance of exchange, and we have been a few times, and then something else comes up, and it's just very annoying. It's nice that we've got removal people on board and we've got a date penciled for the move. My parents are on board in terms of move days and stuff, because good God, are we going to need some help in terms of childcare? Because I can't handle Evie being kind of around while we're saying, oh, actually, can you put that in that room and can you put that in that room? I can't deal with that. So, and because of the nature of having them pack for us, so I think we're going to actually have to go and stay with my parents, because obviously once they've packed stuff, they can leave like bedding and things out, but it might just be easier to say, look, pack everything. Just you do you, and we will pack a suitcase and go and stay at my parents' house, which obviously we're very lucky to be able to do. So all the logistics, it's nice that we're looking at the logistics, but it feels very close, but also really far in terms of, I don't even know if it's going to happen next week. I'm really hoping that the next time I pick up this camera to update you, it is like tomorrow and we've exchanged. That would make me really happy. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. I think it'll be beginning of next week, hopefully. But worst case scenario, it won't even be next week. And then we will have removals penciled, not paid for, but penciled, and no keys. And we've got to be out of this place on the 16th. And at the moment we're looking at the move on the 5th. So it's tricky.
My next update will not be that we've exchanged tomorrow. I've just had an update from my solicitor, who's just had an update from the solicitor of the person at the very bottom of the chain, who it turns out does not have just one thing outstanding, but quite a few things outstanding, including something that they've been asking their client for nearly a month. It just blows my mind. Like, everyone else is kind of pestering their solicitors and pestering the estate agents, and this client has been asked for information for nearly a month and hasn't done it. I can't get my head around it. So I don't think we'll be exchanging tomorrow. I think we'll be lucky to exchange next week, which means we are very unlikely to also complete next week. And then if the completion gets shifted, it might not even fit with the dates that we've penciled the removal guys for. I don't think I realised how much is involved in this process, because I think when we bought our new build, obviously there weren't really many inquiries to my knowledge, and everything was quite like standardised. They spoke to the developer provided documents, that was it. I've since found out they missed some stuff, which is very annoying, because we've had to pay out for a policy for it this time, which is very irritating. It's something that should have been done by our solicitor last time. But the process last time was really quick. I don't remember that, like, I think the whole inquiries thing with buying a new build as a first time buyer, there's no chain, and there were no kind of like fiddle faddling back and forth in terms of inquiries, because it was a new build. So the whole process of it being like offering, negotiating, offer accepted, then you need to provide all the stuff to your solicitor, the mortgage offer, all of that, and then they ask for all the inquiries, and some of that stuff that they can answer for you, some of that stuff that you have to answer, they ask for that on your purchase as well. And there just seems like there's a lot of information gathering, but there's a lot of there's a lot of steps in this process that I didn't know. And I think it's crazy that there's not some kind of like centralized communication system. Like, they rely so much on the estate agents to liaise between all the parties in the chain to work out who's ready for what. And I mean, this solicitor has just said they're not even ready to talk dates, which is crazy, because they should be. This chain has been up for so long. There's a lot more to this process than I ever thought there would be, but it's a much more painful, much slower process. I think, bearing in mind this all used to happen when there was, post, and I don't think the process is much quicker now than it would be if it was happening via post, and that is crazy. We have email, get on with it.
Hello you guys, so it's now the 23rd of September. We still haven't exchanged. I've just spoken to my estate agent and my solicitor, and we're waiting on one thing from one person, and that's something to do with the land registry. So once they get back to that solicitor and get that done, then we can exchange. Apparently it's a 10 working day response time from the end of the week, a week and a half ago. So I'm hoping there's a response in the next kind of day or so. I spoke to the solicitors, and of course they've just said it's not our place to get involved. It's not our place to ask the questions, because I said, can we ask if there's like a working date or something? And they've just not even said we'll ask, and there's, we've asked and the answer's no. They've said that it's not their place to even ask the question. So I'm not quite sure what that is, because it's putting us in quite a difficult position in terms of booking removals and things. And I've mentioned that to the solicitor, and they've just said it's not their place to get involved and to do it through the estate agent, which makes me wonder what I am paying the solicitor for. But oh well, hopefully we're getting there, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Hello, another little house update for you. It's now Wednesday the 25th of September. If you can't hear it in my voice, I have a stinking cold, so that's fun. I have just had a bit of an update from the estate agents. We still haven't exchanged. However, and I say this with lots of trepidation because we have got so close so many times, but I do think we may actually exchange this week, like tomorrow or Friday. Like, there's a couple of things outstanding, but they're like, someone needs to send this email to this person. Like, they're things that can be done as long as that person does the thing that they've been asked to do. They're quick things. The main thing that has been outstanding, which I think I mentioned was something to do with the land registry for one of the properties in the chain, I think has now been resolved. They're just waiting for some paperwork to be sent over, but the land registry have said absolutely the solicitor will have it by the end of the day. So then that should be it, as long as this person in the chain sends through the last couple of bits via email. I think it is via email. Like, it doesn't need to be, I don't know. Anyway, hoping that is everything and nothing else comes to light, which is exactly how it's happened over the last few weeks, where things have kind of come up last minute. Oh, by the way, there's this massive thing outstanding that's going to take weeks. Hopefully, and I'm saying it with a lot of trepidation, I'm hoping we're going to exchange this week. And I think we're hoping for a completion date next week. I know that some people on the chain want next week and some people want the week after. I think most people want next week. So hopefully, as long as people can like get removals and stuff sorted, we will be completing next Friday, which is really exciting. Cannot wait to get in. It's annoying because we were meant to complete this week and then move in next week. So we were always going to be doing the move next week, but we were going to have the keys this week, which would mean that we could kind of go in. There's things that we want to do straight away. Like, there's the end of the garden kind of just goes into this already existing nature reserve thing. It's like a country park nature reserve thing. And the end of the garden doesn't actually have a fence, which is absolutely fine. No one can kind of get in. It's all like the middle of the woods. No one can get into our garden, and it's quite a steep drop at the end of the garden. However, because of the steep drop, I don't think Evie would be able to get to it because there's like raised beds and things before. But if Murph, particularly the first time he goes to the house when he's kind of going, ooh, how long is this garden? I think there's a real risk that he might just run straight down the garden and plop off the edge down this drop. And I don't know how far the drop is. So because of that, we wanted to, if we'd got the keys this Friday, which isn't going to happen, that was the original plan, but it's not going to happen, then we could have gone in this weekend and put like a temporary fence or a temporary something. We've bought some chicken wire, so we were just going to do something temporary with that, just to have kind of something to stop him plummeting down the edge of this drop. So I think now we will have to do that on move day, or potentially like if we complete on the Friday and move on the Saturday, which I think is what we're going to do, then we could potentially go in on the Friday like afternoon once we've got the keys and put up this little fence. I don't think it's going to be too complicated. It's probably 4 meters wide, 5 meters wide. It's not big. And we've already got the chicken wire and some sticks, and there's a tree as well, so it'll probably go fence to tree to post fence or something. That's my thought anyway. So I will share that process when we get to it. But yeah, it's annoying because we would have been able to go in this weekend and do that, leave Murph here. So it's just frustrating, but it's little things like that. It's not anything major. So yeah, it'll just be we get the keys on the Friday when they're all here packing, and then the Saturday we'll move in. So it'll be really nice. I'm very, very excited, but it just needs to be finalised now. I don't want to wait 2 weeks. I want it to be next week. Hello, you guys. So it is Thursday, the 26th of September. We still haven't exchanged. It's now looking like it's not going to be this week. There's just like annoying paperwork things that this one person in the chain has to do that they could have done weeks ago and haven't, and as such they
the solicitors had to post them something else today because they haven't been able to do it themselves, and so that's going to be special delivery, arrive tomorrow. So there's literally no logistical way of them signing it and sending it back to their solicitor by tomorrow, because they won't receive it till tomorrow. It's very annoying. It also has a knock-on effect because it'll affect when we complete, because we were hoping to complete on the Friday the 4th, and that's now looking incredibly unlikely, purely because we're not going to be even exchanging until Monday, I don't think. Very frustrating. I've spoken to our removals. They've got good availability actually, but like reasonably, you know, it's still limited because it's short notice to change dates. So talking to them about what works best for them, and now we're kind of talking with estate agents about what working dates we should be kind of looking at. Obviously we can't discuss dates until exchange is ready, but then obviously we don't want to faff about once exchange is ready. We just want to get on with it because we've been waiting for so damn long. So it looks like we're not going to be moving on the 4th. It looks like we're going to be moving on the 10th, 11th, I think. There's conversations going back and forth between the estate agents, the house that we're buying. We're trying to negotiate a date that works best for the two, us and them, because then when the rest of the chain start discussing dates, we will have already got a couple of dates that we can go, well, these dates work for these people, where are you at? It is very, very stressful, and I think there's so many moving parts when you've got work, when you've got children to look after and arrange childcare for, when you've got removals to arrange, when you are growing a human and therefore can't do a lot of like the lifting and stuff, which means someone else needs to be around to help me if there's anything like that that needs doing. It's so frustrating. Like, we originally said we wanted exchange on the 10th of September. It's now looking like it might be the 30th of September, or it might not even be September. It might end up being the 1st of October. I'm going to have to pay our removals on Monday, even if we're not going to be moving on Friday. They've been amazing, the removal people. They're so good. Like, I cannot. In fact, I will give them a massive shout out, particularly when we do the move vlog. But Smart Move in Bristol, from the first contact we've had with them, have been so good. We had such a bad experience with the company that did our last move, which was cross country from Shropshire to Bristol. They were organisation wise fine, but they damaged stuff and their attitude was just shit. These guys have been so attentive, they're always quick to respond, they're being so great about these changing dates, and just, I cannot recommend them enough. But I'm sure I will give them a proper shout out in the full move vlog, which I'm hoping is coming soon. This process is so damn stressful, and I think what's annoying is if it was someone else's like inquiries or searches or something like that that was holding up the process, there's nothing you can do about that. The things that are holding up the process at the moment, the land registry thing is done, so there's that's done. The things that are holding up the process now are things that could have been done by this person, this buyer. They could have done them weeks ago. We did our versions of these weeks ago. Signing paperwork, getting it back to your solicitor. We did that weeks ago in anticipation of exchange. Documents that like you send to your solicitor at the very start of the process, they haven't done. And they've said last Thursday, so a week ago today, they told the estate agent they were sending it that day, and they still haven't. It's one email. It literally takes 5 seconds to send an email. They just haven't done it, and now it's delaying the whole process. It's so annoying. Like, if I could get my hands on this person, I don't even know their name, but if I could get my hands on this person, I would shake them, because they don't realise the impact, and they're a first-time buyer, and I get that that's alien, but if your solicitor asks you for something, you just get it to them. You don't wait a month, because it's been over a month since their solicitor's been asking them for certain things, and it's like, so there's 2 documents that are outstanding, one of which needs posting, and they need the original signed and back, so that's what's going to delay it. The other thing they could email, they just haven't done it.
And then, of course, they haven't sent the deposit money because it hasn't been requested yet, because they have to be ready before they formally request the money. And they're not ready because of these documents. It's so annoying. So it looks like the dates are going to change. We're not going to be in by next weekend, which is annoying. But hopefully we will be in by the weekend after. I feel like this exchange has been within touching distance for about 2.5, 3 weeks now. And it's other people's ineptitude and inability to do really, really simple things that are delaying this whole process. It's going to be so worth it. I cannot wait to show you guys this house. I can't wait to get in and for it to be our home. But holy Jesus, is it taking a long time? I will update you when there's an update. And I'm really hoping there are not going to be many more of these updates that are just like, hi, we still haven't exchanged. Because if I'm getting bored of them, you guys are definitely getting bored of them. Oh my goodness, this is such a frustrating process. So Friday, everyone but the house that we're buying had agreed on a move date. The house that we're buying was saying that date wouldn't work for them. Saturday, they contacted the estate agent and said, actually, look, we'll make it work. And now we were waiting for one bit of paperwork, and now the solicitor for that person the thing was waiting on has come back and said, towel? You want this? Here you go. The solicitor for the person who had this bit of paperwork pending has put an email out this morning to the agents just saying we're not ready for exchange yet, and completion won't be happening on the 4th, which is Friday, which is the date we'd agreed on. No explanation, just that they're not ready and it won't be happening. We have arranged everything. Like, we have no food in the house, we have childcare sorted, we have dog care sorted, we have removals sorted. My estate agent is calling around to try and find out what the reason is. But, I mean, what a joke. This is ridiculous. I can't believe it. I'm so frustrated. So it's now Tuesday, the 1st of October, and we still haven't exchanged. We're not going to be moving house this week. It's so annoying because we've not even got proper information as to kind of what we're waiting for and how long it's going to take and things like that. So yeah, very frustrating. But I've called our removal people yesterday and changed our removals from Friday this week to, they were doing Friday, Saturday this week, so they're going to do Thursday, Friday next week, which is a lot less convenient. But if no one else in the chain's going to be ready this week, then we obviously can't go ahead this week. Very frustrating, very frustrating. But it is the nature of the beast. So yeah, that's my little update. And I kind of just have to sit on it now. There's nothing I can do to make this process go faster. I've rung everyone I can ring. Everyone who can chase it is chasing it. I've just got to try and be patient. And I'm not a very patient person. I am trying very, very hard not to be ragey, but we've had an update this afternoon. The update is that there is absolutely no update, as in nothing has changed on any of the bits that are pending. There's only 2 things and they should take like an hour each, if that. Like one person sending an email to another. That's it. And there's no update on either of those things since Friday last week. I mean, they're now having something sent in the post. So if it gets posted today, and that's a big if, then it'll arrive tomorrow. But if it doesn't get sent today, it'll arrive Friday. Then hopefully we'll be ready to go. But then, like, oh, it's just so frustrating. I feel like screaming. I feel like shaking the people that are just being useless. And there is people being useless. It's not just the process. It is people being useless. These are things that should have been done weeks and weeks and weeks ago. It's so frustrating. I can't put it into words. So I've kind of been forced this afternoon to send an email because we're in a really difficult position. We need completion to happen next week because we've got to be out of this place the week after. So we have to move house next week. I've sent an email basically asking, and on the advice of my solicitor and the estate agents, basically saying that, you know, this is our position. We need to be out of this house week after next, so we have to complete next week. And to do that, we need to be seeing that we're moving forwards towards exchange this week. We need to be discussing dates like yesterday, and just everyone needs to get a bit of a bloody wiggle on. And I've been quite firm in it and said, you know, if we don't see significant progress towards exchange this week, we'll have to make some difficult decisions. I don't think there would be a position where we would pull out, or where we, in fact, I know there isn't really a position that we would pull out at this point. We've come this far, but I genuinely don't know where it leaves us if we can't complete before we have to be out of this place. So I think it would be putting everything in storage and staying with my parents, but it's just not, it just shouldn't be a position that we should be in. This has been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's useless tiny little things that need doing, and it's so frustrating. So I'm hoping that this kind of fairly scary, firmly worded email is enough to stick a bit of a rocket up the people that have got this very basic stuff pending, and hopefully it'll get these things across the line, because it just feels like it makes me so angry. Like I want to ring them and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is ridiculous. Like, it might have no impact on them, and that's kind of why I sent the email. It might have absolutely no impact on them whether we complete this week or next week or the week after or the week after that or the month after that. Like, it might have no impact. It's the person at the bottom of the chain, so they're the first time buyers, and so yeah, it probably has no impact on them, but it has a massive impact on us. And so that's kind of why I've sent the message, is just to kind of outline our situation and be like, look, we won't have somewhere to live, and we, you know, all of these delays and constantly changing our bookings for removals and things. Like, I am pregnant, we have a 2-year-old, we have a dog. It's not like we can get a hotel room with a 2-year-old and a dog to tide us over while the house move completion happens. Like, it's so frustrating. So that's why I've sent the email, is to basically like hammer home the situation, and also kind of say, look, you know, we don't want to make difficult decisions, but if we don't see some progress, then we're going to have to. I don't think there would be a position where we would do that, but I'm hoping it does enough to put a rocket up them. It's just such a slow process, and these last couple of delays are not normal. I know that the normal process takes a while and it can be frustrating, but this is not normal. This is people being bloody slow, who just can't be arsed and who don't care. I'm really hoping we get some good news tomorrow.
This is the reality of this process. Today is Thursday, the 3rd of October, and it looks very unlikely that we're going to exchange this week, because this person at the bottom of the chain still didn't post the thing that they needed to post yesterday. So their solicitor won't receive this document until tomorrow. The solicitor's refusing to discuss any dates for completion until they are ready, as in they've received this document. So we probably won't exchange tomorrow. If we don't exchange tomorrow, we won't complete next week. If we don't complete next week, we are going to be cutting it so close to get out of here before we have to be out of here before the end of this tenancy. We will have one day to do that. And if the other people in the chain can't do that day, I don't know what we do. I've asked the estate agent what we can do, and he's just said, well, we can just keep pushing. I said, can't we push, can't we fight back and push back on it and say, no, we need to be discussing dates now? And he won't do it. He's just said, we'll just keep chasing. He said we should be looking at alternate accommodation. And I said, I don't want to do that. It's not an option. There's nothing that is a sensible option for us. There's nothing that is, it's just, I mean, we're lucky because my parents live just up the road. So if we need to go and stay with them, we can. But this is just, it shouldn't be. This process, nothing has changed at all in what we're waiting for in a week. And it's the same one person who just needs to get his arse in gear. And he doesn't realise the impact of his lack of action and what that is doing to people. And I feel bad because I shouldn't be getting this stressed. It's not good for the baby. But I can't, and maybe it's a personality trait. I can't just sit back and allow us to be pushed around like this and to be put in this position. I need to feel that I'm doing everything I possibly can to stop it happening and to get this across the line and to sort it out before we end up having to put everything we own in storage and go and live in my parents' spare room. We've made it so clear all the way through the process of our hard deadline for when we need to be moved. And it's like no one has listened to that. And this person at the bottom of the chain has just such little consideration for everyone else and how their apathy is impacting people. It just makes me so angry. So is now the point that we talk dates? I mean, are we able to start those conversations at all? Thank you so much. Thank you. Cheers, bye.
Say again?
The documents are all in.
Oh, the results are in.
So they're requesting the deposit from their client. He said that will be transferred this afternoon. So we might exchange today. And if we don't exchange today, we will exchange tomorrow.
Okay, so this idiot at the bottom of the chain, he has nothing left to do,
He has nothing left to do other than send his money. So I've been apologising to our little boy all morning, saying, I'm sorry, I know I'm not meant to get stressed, but it's for a good reason. I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
I don't know for certain, but it may be that we don't have to come and live in your spare room.
It's just Chinese whispers, isn't it? It's so ridiculous.
This was never going to be a non-stressful process, but today has been a roller coaster. So this morning, as you will have seen, I had a meltdown. I think I got angry and upset at everybody. I think my hormones may have had a slight impact on that as well, but it just sounded like it wasn't even going to happen this week, and then that would mean that we wouldn't be moving next week and we were going to be homeless, and whereas I've now, about 5 minutes ago, had an email through from my estate agent saying that all of the documents that were required have now been received. So all that needs to happen is the deposit transfer for the person at the bottom of the chain. They just need to transfer their money to the solicitor and we can exchange. So hopefully dates are now being discussed. I've asked my agent to do it. He was a bit reluctant and said that it's not quite the right time yet. And I was like, yes it is, because I'm going to have a breakdown. So I think he's discussing it, but they have proposed the dates that we wanted next week. We wanted Thursday next week. They've suggested Thursday or Friday. Thursday would be much easier for us, but at this point I will take any day next week, any day. So yeah, it does look like it might actually happen. I'm still not going to hold my breath, because knowing this person at the bottom of the chain and how they've been with doing stuff that they've said they're going to do, if I held my breath I might die. But it might happen today. We might exchange today. And if we don't exchange today, we should exchange tomorrow. I cannot tell you the anxiety. It's killing me. Oh my God, I think this might actually be happening. I've just had an email. All parties have agreed on the 10th. Deposit has also been received at the bottom of the chain. I think we might exchange today. Oh my God, this is too exciting. This is too exciting. If we can get this across the line today, I am going to be so excited. This has been such a long process
27th of March we first viewed this house. It's now the 3rd of October and we might actually be getting a legal exchange across the line. I can't believe it. 2.5 hours to the end of the working day. Surely they can get it across the line in that time. Okay, so it looks like it's all happening, I think. So I've just given authority to exchange via email to my solicitor. So I think that's everything. And now, as far as I'm aware, we just wait, which is painful, very painful. But as far as my understanding is, it starts at the bottom. So the person at the bottom of the chain has obviously paid their deposit. That deposit gets paid to the solicitor of the next house, and then they use that deposit to be the deposit for the next house, and blah 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 blah. It has to start at the bottom of the chain, so my hope is that they're getting on with that now. It is 3:20. I'm hoping we're good to go, and it's just gonna happen in the next like hour and a half. The solicitor said she will email me by the end of the day and let me know if it's happened or not, and if it hasn't happened today, it will happen tomorrow. So that's good to know. Gotta hope that it's that it all goes through quick enough to get by the end of the day, because 6 parties in a chain is quite a long chain, I think. So everyone's kind of got, I mean, what have we got? We've got like 90 minutes until the end of the day. So really, for 6 parties to exchange, they got to do it in like 15 minutes each. Is that even right? My brain's broken. 15 minutes times 6. 15, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Yeah, so like 15 minutes per party to exchange. Assuming they're getting on with it, it'll get done. This could be really exciting. It is really exciting, but it's just, given how the last few days have gone, I am sceptical as to whether people are getting their act in gear. I know that we have everything done and we've given authority. I know that the house that we're buying have given authority, so that is done. We're good to go, top of the chain. But the 4 parties below us, I'm a little nervous that they may be slower to respond in terms of giving authority. And the bottom end of the chain has not been the most rapid at this process thus far, so we shall see. Maybe today's the day, maybe it isn't. So what's the hot? Sorry, I'm like in idiot term, because I don't really understand what's the hold up then. They said that, yeah. So is that for the purchase? Right, okay. Like, I don't want to have any issues tomorrow, because we have to get it across the line tomorrow, because we have to get this completion date set in stone. Then we know we're good to go tomorrow. Okay, all right, I'll make a call. Thank you. Cheers, bye. You couldn't write it. So we're not exchanging today because it's something to do with the amount of deposit that comes up the chain from the bottom is like 1.5 grand less than 10% of what we're buying this house for. And normally it wouldn't be an issue, but their solicitor has picked up on it and has, I don't know, questioned it or something, and they needed to hear back from the solicitor by 4:40 to be able to exchange, and my solicitor only heard about this situation at 4:25, so she had 15 minutes to sort it, and as such she's not had enough time. She's not had a response from the, I don't really understand. I don't really know how it works, but we're not exchanging today, and they need some kind of response from our purchase properties solicitor, and then we can do authority to exchange again. Everyone will have to give authority tomorrow, and then hopefully we can exchange tomorrow. Touching distance. It's been touching distance so many times. I really thought we were getting there today. I really thought this was going to get across the line today. Oh well, hopefully tomorrow. Good morning, you guys. It is first thing in the morning on the 4th of October, and I have just given authority to exchange again, with the hope that it will all go across today. Really frustrating thing last night with it not going across. Apparently it's actually quite standard for the deposit coming up the chain to be a slightly differing amount to like exactly 10% of what you're buying the house, what your purchase is. It just needs to be like agreed to, and I think it's like they ideally want an exchange deposit of 10%, and this is like 9.67 or something, so it just needed to be agreed to. Apparently it is fairly standard, and at 3 minutes to 5 she got an email saying that it was absolutely fine, that the amount was fine, and both her and our purchase solicitor were willing to work late and get it done, but because our buyer's solicitor wasn't, they couldn't get it done yesterday. So it is apparently just a formality, and it's all sorted now, which is great. So yeah, I've just given the email authority again to go ahead and exchange this morning. So apparently the whole chain wants it done first thing. So my hope is that all of the solicitors are getting the authority from their clients right now as we speak, and then we will exchange, you know, in the next couple of hours, which would just be such a weight off our mind. It will mean that we'll get the keys next Thursday, so 6 days from today, and we will actually move in on the Friday, so a week today. We will be moving in. Our removals are all booked, so they're going to come here on the Thursday and pack. I will be at work, but Matt will be here, and then the Friday they will deliver everything to the new house. I can't believe it's happening. It feels like every step of this process has been such a fight and such a learning curve. I suppose from a kind of almost like an outsider newbie perspective, it feels like it's a very dated process, in as much as there's, you know, we've got instantaneous communication options, and yet there's still a real lack of communication between all the parties in a chain and things. It seems very very old-fashioned, and like people not responding to emails for a week, 2 weeks, when there's negotiations and stuff going on about stuff. It seems very old-fashioned. I was in the estate agent office for our purchase the other day, and they were saying that like pre-email it was actually a quicker process, and I'm just wondering how the hell that was a thing, because pre-email surely everything took longer because things were in the post or things were being faxed, and there wasn't that instantaneous communication, but it happened quicker. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. It seems a very antiquated, slow, just sluggish process, and it's very frustrating if you are just sitting waiting for things to be done. And I'm a very impatient person, and I'm also a very proactive person, so I found it very frustrating at times when it's been like there's things to chase but no one's actively ringing the people and saying, where is this thing that I need? And there's like, oh, I sent an email a week ago and I sent another email yesterday but I haven't had a response. I'd be picking up the phone. Like this document that we've been waiting for a week had been posted, apparently, and I say apparently because I don't believe it had been posted, but apparently it had been posted 3 times. At that point you give up on the post. Like, I don't believe it had been posted, because the Royal Mail, for any of its flaws, you send something 3 times, it will arrive. So I think it's a lie. I think that they hadn't sent it the first 2 times. It finally arrived yesterday. I think it hadn't been sent the first 2 times, and they were lying, which is really frustrating. But also, why are things happening via post? If you need an original document for something, then you need to be willing to go to your solicitor's office to drop it off, because that has caused literally a week's delay. We would have been moving into the house today if it wasn't for this person and their apparent posting of a document that wasn't, I don't think, ever posted. Anyway, exchange is happening. and it's happening right now.
Thank you so much. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. Babe. Yeah. We've exchanged. Good grief. Right, should we get your socks on? Should we get your socks on? Because you're going to have a new house. Hello, you guys. So I'm going to have to speak quietly because Matt is doing bedtime. But I thought I would take the opportunity now to try my hardest to explain what on earth happened yesterday. So long and short of it is we did finally exchange, which is fantastic. However, as you will have seen, it wasn't without its stress or tears. So we gave authority again at like, must have been about 9:30 in the morning, and everyone was ready to go. And as far as I was aware, that was, you know, everything that the issue that had come up on the evening of Thursday had been sorted, and it wasn't a problem, and it just needed like authorizing, and then it was fine. So that had been done. And then I'm, as I've mentioned multiple times, not an overly patient person. So by about midday I was thinking, oh my God, surely this is any second now we're going to get this call saying it's done. And I got forwarded an email by the agent for our purchase, basically explaining that there was an issue with the deposit amount, and asking indirectly, it wasn't addressed, the email wasn't addressed to us, but basically the situation was that the deposit coming up the chain for exchange, on the Thursday they'd been told it was one amount, and that had been approved to be the deposit for our exchange, and then on the Friday morning it was a different amount and it was 20 grand less. It turns out this was a mistake on the behalf of the solicitor that is dealing, like our buyer's solicitor. But because of this, it made the people selling our house that we're buying really twitchy as to why the amount was different, why had it changed, why is this person suddenly putting less money down. And the only kind of sensible solution that they could see was to ask us for 20 grand there and then, straight away. I got this kind of Chinese whispers, a forwarded email from our purchase agent. So I called the solicitor and was like, what the hell? Because she never rang and told me. And she basically said, yeah, there's a problem. They're not happy to go ahead with this amount for the deposit, so we need you to find 20 grand. Or exchange is probably not going to happen today, if at all. As you can imagine, that is a really difficult position to be in. We don't have 20 grand just sitting around. I wish we were in that kind of financial position, but we're not, and I don't think I know many people, if any people, that are in that position. And to put us in that position when I've asked the solicitor a good few weeks ago, do we need to produce any money for exchange for the deposit, and have been told no, it was really traumatic, because I was thinking, if we can't find this money, we're going to not exchange, we're going to lose this house, or we're going to exchange but it'll be next week, which means we won't move house next week, which means we'll have to be out of here before we've got the new house. So everything would have to go into storage, we would be homeless, although we could live with my parents. But it's just every kind of eventuality, whether it meant that exchange would happen but just was delayed, was bad, and the alternative was that it wouldn't happen at all, which obviously after this very, very long painful process, very, very stressful, particularly this week, it wasn't an option. But equally, finding 20 grand also not really an option. But it was so ridiculous. I spent about 2 hours in tears, pacing. My mum came over and was trying to get me to sit down and drink water or eat something, because it's not good for the baby for me to get that upset. But what am I meant to do in that situation? Find us 20 grand or the exchange isn't going to happen. I'm still really, really angry that we were put in that position, because no one should ever have put us in that position. And the fact that it wasn't even anything that we were in control of, it was the solicitor of our buyer. Their solicitor made a mistake, and because of their mistake, I don't think it was even down to the amount that the deposit was going to be. I think it was literally down to the decrease in amount had made the people selling the house that we're buying, had made them really nervous as to like, how secure is this? Is that woman who's reduced the amount of deposit, why has she done that? Like, is it that she's not actually going to commit? Is she going to pull out after exchange and she's reduced her deposit because of that? Like, it made them nervous, and I get it. I totally get it. But for their solicitor to make a mistake, and it put us in a position that we were being told you need to produce an extortionate amount of money today, like now, or exchange isn't going to happen. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. So I have emailed the solicitor, our solicitor, today, asking them for a full explanation as to why it happened, because I don't think we should ever have been put in that position. As I said, she told me weeks ago that we wouldn't have to produce any money, but actually looking at the figures, the amount coming up the chain, the figure that we were given, the higher figure, it was never going to be that, because that wasn't 10% of the price of our house that we're selling. So why had that not been picked up? I'm really angry about it. I feel very very shell shocked and quite shaken up by it all, because I got very, very upset. I had to sort it, and it was a horrible situation to be in. We ended up I spoke to all of the estate agents that I have the contact details for, and essentially in the end the people who own the house that we're buying agreed to take the lower amount, and it just, thank God they did, because the alternative doesn't bear thinking about. But none of us or them, should have been put in that position. So yeah, very, very traumatic. It was a good probably 2.5 hours where I thought we were going to need to produce 20 grand. Anyway, they agreed to take the lower amount, which is still, it's still a significant 5-figure amount of money as a deposit for our exchange. It's just not as much as they originally were expecting, and obviously that threw them, and I totally understand their position, and I actually feel awful that they were put in a position where they had to accept a lesser deposit, and that they were feeling uncomfortable and insecure in the chain and things. I feel awful that they were put in that position, but we didn't really have any other alternative other than to ask them to please go ahead with exchange with the smaller deposit, because I can't produce 20 grand like that, and we should never have been asked to. Not by them, but the solicitors. No one should have put us in that position. So yeah, but I ended up getting a phone call saying that exchange had happened finally. So it was obviously a huge relief that it had happened, and we're really pleased, and we can't wait for this to be our house, and it means that we're moving house next week. So that's all really, this time next week we will be sitting in a totally different house in our new living room with the log fire crackling away, and this will all feel like a distant memory, I'm sure. But in the moment, having built up to this exchange for so long, and it been such a long drawn out process and so frustrating, so many delays and things, I was expecting to be absolutely elated when the exchange went through, when I got that phone call saying that the exchange had happened. And instead I was just totally shell-shocked from the morning still. I was really shaken up, and I still feel a little bit psychologically beaten up by it, and physically, to be fair, because it meant that I was pacing, I was stressing, I was, you know, not looking after myself or our baby in the way that I should, and I feel incredibly guilty for that, because I know that getting stressed isn't good, and not having lunch isn't good, and just not eating, not drinking, just I was too upset and too stressed to do any of those things that I know I need to be doing. But watch this space, because I will be getting an update. I've asked for some answers. I've asked for full explanation as to why what happened. And I've also asked for some advice as to how I go about making a proper complaint about, like, towards the buyer's solicitor, because their mistake of stating that the deposit amount was X amount and instead it was £20,000 less, that's unacceptable. And it put us in an absolutely awful position where we were essentially having to produce money that we don't have, or the whole chain was going to fall apart. So I am going to take it further, I think, or at least see if see if that's something that I can do. But I've asked for some answers. But yeah, I think it'll hit as we start kind of getting really prepped for the move, that the exchange has actually happened, that we are actually moving, that we are moving this week. But I mean, it's been less than 36 hours since the exchange has gone through. So I'm still feeling a bit battered from the process, because it wasn't the process that it should have been. But yeah, we've exchanged, which is fantastic, and we are really pleased. It was really quite traumatic in the moment. But yeah, exchanged. We are getting the keys on Thursday. Our removal guys are coming in on Thursday to pack, because I can't possibly do all the packing in the situation that I'm in, where I'm pregnant and feeling so sick, and just I can't. So the removal guys are coming in on Thursday to do all the packing, and I think load up the vans, or load up part of the vans, and then on Friday they are delivering everything, so they will be loading up the rest of the stuff and delivering it to the new house. I think it's going to be a really full-on day. Matt's working at least some of Friday, so I might be on my own for a bit of it, but they're doing everything for us, so it's not like I'm going to have to lift anything. I think I'm going to be mostly directing traffic. That goes in that room, that goes in that room. And then yeah, by Friday afternoon everything should be moved in, and then the main priority is making Evie's room recognisably hers, making the setup nice for her and feel like it's her space. So hopefully, and also to put a blackout blind up. So hopefully she will feel settled on the first night in the new house. It's very exciting. It was such a difficult day yesterday that I think we both felt a bit shell-shocked. But we have ordered a takeaway tonight, so hopefully it'll feel a bit kind of celebratory, and like we can relax in the knowledge that we are moving into this beautiful house that we have loved since we first saw it on the 27th of March, and we will be moving in on the 11th of October. It's been a process, and I'm really glad that I've documented this process to share with you guys, because I definitely didn't know the ins and outs of this process, and I've learned a lot. But I also know that the process that we've been through has not been as textbook as a lot of them are. I promised I would share the journey, so this is me sharing the good, the bad and the ugly. But the end of the story is that we will be in this beautiful house next week. I don't know if this is going to be the end of this video. I don't know if there's going to be anything else I'll film in the next couple of days, or if it's actually going to be me getting ready for the move, and it'll probably be in the move vlog. Probably that, actually. Move vlog will be coming, and we will be moving into this house next week. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope you've enjoyed this little series, and I will see you very, very soon for the move vlog.